You're listening to Uncle Sam Saves America, a patriotic show for the average Joe.
What is it about American family values that defines the essence of who the people of the United States are? People who have a strong family have happy feelings, warm, fuzzy feelings around the word home, regardless of their race, their religion, their upbringing, or any other factors that from the outside. Right? Around the dining room table, a family's ethics, values, convictions, and manners were passed along not only by example, but through parental guidance. Most parents these days actually want to bring up their children to be good human beings, good, responsible citizens. But to do that, the parents themselves must walk the walk. Respect, love, honesty. In the American home, those aren't just simply values that are given, right? They're earned, and it's a two-way street. And throughout the process, the whole goal for parents is to provide the youth with self-discipline, honesty, a sense of purpose that will carry them all the way into the future. That starts with accountability and responsibility. That's one huge hub around which American family values rotate. Right? An effective family unit strives to teach self-responsibility, culpability, and be it in the way that they do their civic duty, the way that they do their chores, the way that they work their job. Doesn't matter. Responsibility and accountability are two big factors that are always in play. And there's this pervading cultural idea that you are what you make yourself to be. You are what you choose to be. People are expected to be self-reliant and personally responsible for their choices and their actions, and that's how they get somewhere in life. Now, responsibility by definition means doing what needs to be done, whether that's by duty, choice, or commitment. Responsibility is accepting that certain things need to be done in order to obtain a desired result. Accountability, on the other hand, which is severely lacking in what is being taught today, is owning your own actions. You accept responsibility for what you do, good or bad, without deflection. Facing consequences, right? You don't hide behind excuses or ideologies, like critical theory. You deal with the results of your choices. Integrity in practice. Your word means something, right? If you commit, you deliver. And you have to practice that. Self-discipline is accountability that isn't imposed by something external, it's something you impose upon yourself, right? You hold yourself to the standard that you want anybody to see you at. And true freedom in America requires accountability. Liberty without accountability collapses into chaos, right? The republic survives because citizens know how to restrain themselves and how to manage their own actions. Now, critical theory often reframes accountability as structural oppression, or it externalizes the blame. But within American family values, accountability is personal. You don't outsource it, you don't dilute it, and you don't escape it. You own it. And teaching family values to your children starts with understanding that the concept of respect, without respect, the need for social skills can't be grasped. They don't understand, without respect, what respect is and how it molds the way a person should think and act. That means that it's the foundation for a productive society. What respect is, in American values, is the recognition of the inherent dignity and worth of every person, right? Treating others as you want to be treated, while also holding yourself accountable to that same standard, which is something that a lot of people don't do these days. That's defined as hypocrisy. Right? Recognition of dignity. It begins with acknowledging that every human being has intrinsic value, regardless of their status, their backgrounds, and yes, even their beliefs. Right? Even if they're different than yours. Self-respect is not only an outward thing, but it requires that you maintain your own integrity. You maintain your worth. You know that you put forth your best effort, and therefore you can have self-respect. Blaming, treating yourself as a victim, blaming society or any of the critiques that critical theory, critical race theory, or any of those kinds of things, that's escaping it. That's not self-respect. That's putting blame outward. That's one of the least self-respectful things that you can do, right? The golden rule, right? Respect is practiced by treating others the way that you want to be treated. It's a foundation for trust, right? Respect builds cohesive teams, communities, nations, because it creates an accountability, right? It's a mutual resilience. It's a mutual reliance. Honesty and integrity are important to Americans in order to build that trust, right? America was, and still is, built on communities of people who don't know each other very well, right? But they have to cooperate. Honesty and integrity make that cooperation possible. They make it possible to trade, to build towns, to defend each other without constant suspicion and constant looking over your shoulder. Cultural identity. Americans prize self-reliance and independence, integrity, right? We always have. That's what America was built on. Americans prided themselves upon that up until the turn of the 21st century here, right? Since the 2000s, Marxist critical theory has taken over and became the methodology with which people try to attach their values today, which is a failed idea, right? Social cohesion, right? In a pluralistic nation like ours, people of different backgrounds live side by side, right? Honesty and integrity are common language that two people can speak even if they're from different cultures, right? Legacy and reputation. Americans care deeply about legacy. Americans care deeply about their reputations, and how you are remembered is going to be by your honesty, your integrity, your respect, and your accountability. Honesty and integrity, respect and accountability. See, these aren't just virtues, they're survival tools, right? There are survival values in a nation that is built upon cooperation amongst diverse and independent people. Without those, America could not function as the melting pot that it is. And one misconception that is harped on by Marxist university professors is that the nuclear family is oppressive. Critical theory frames it that way, and professors at your universities teach it that way, right? Not only is it blatantly false, but it's also a virtue that's signaling for victimhood. Family values don't have to be chained to the nuclear family model, right? Single parents, gay parents, young parents, old parents, rich parents, poor parents, one parent, one sibling raising another, right? It doesn't matter that living situation. All are capable of teaching and choosing to live a life of American family values, right? What matters is the installation of those American values, right? What matters is instilling them in the youth so that they instill them in the next generation. That way we have a civilization of people who are actually civilized, right? American values are about behavior, discipline, transmission of respect, right? As well as taking responsibility for one's actions, thoughts, and words. Most values are behavior driven, teaching respect, accountability, boundaries, right? All these things matter more than the structure of the household, okay? Now, of course, it would be great if everybody could grow up with two parents and a brother and a sister and everybody be happy with a stay-at-home mom and blah, 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 but this is the real world and it doesn't work that way. However, no matter how it works, you're still capable of teaching American family values to the youth, right? And the consequences of the neglect, when parents normalize backtalk, when they normalize public disruptions or disrespect, they're not only undermining authority, right? They're conditioning the kids to fail in society. Right? Across history, family units have taken many forms, extended, communal, tribal, but the common thread is that the enforcement of normals, family values, right? The collapse comes when those normals are not taught. Academic critique versus a lived reality, right, will show you that much of the oppression framing comes from theorists who are detached from practical life. They are people who have never spent a day outside of academia, yet they're accepting all of these ideas and theories and teaching them to students, although real life doesn't work the way that they try to teach that it works. That's the problem with critical theory and Marxist theory. It's not based in reality, right? And I think it's time that America end the critical theory experiment, return to raising a nation of kids that will contribute positively to the society.
You're listening to Uncle Sam Saves America, a patriotic show for the average Joe.